You're doing it right now, not laughing, but you will be. And when you do, you won't know why. Not really. You'll think you do. You'll point at whatever made you laugh and say, that's why. But the thing that made you laugh is not the reason you laughed. It's just the trigger. The reason goes back much further than any joke ever written. Laughter is the oldest sound your species makes. Older than language. Older than music. Possibly older than fire. And for most of human history, it had nothing to do with anything being funny. This is what laughter actually is. And it is going to change how you hear every laugh you've ever had. Start with a number, 18. That's how old human language is, in the grand scale. Roughly 100,000 years ago, your ancestors developed the capacity for complex spoken language, symbolic communication, grammar, the ability to say something that had never been said before. Laughter is at least 10 million years old. We know this because laughter is not uniquely human. In 2009, a researcher named Jaak Panksepp, one of the founders of effective neuroscience, ran a series of studies on rats. He tickled them, and the rats produced a high-frequency ultrasonic chirp, 50 kilohertz, above human hearing range, every time, consistently, in the same social play context where humans laugh. When Panksepp blocked the brain circuits responsible for the chirping, the rats stopped seeking play. They lost interest in social interaction entirely. The chirping wasn't a side effect of play, it was driving it. It was the signal that kept the game going. Great apes laugh too. Chimpanzees, bonobos, gorillas, orangutans all produce a breathy, panting vocalization during play and tickling that is structurally identical to human laughter. Same rhythm, same social context, same triggering conditions. Laughter predates the joke by approximately 10 million years. So what was it for? The most rigorous answer comes from Robert Praveen, a neuroscientist at the University of Maryland who spent decades doing something nobody else had bothered to do. He went out into the real world and recorded when people actually laughed. Not in comedy clubs, not watching television, in ordinary conversations, shopping malls, cafeterias, parks. He recorded over 1,000 laughter episodes in natural social settings. His findings were immediate and strange. 80% of laughter occurred during completely unfunny statements. Not jokes, not punchlines, not anything designed to be humorous. People laughed after saying things like, I know, and I'll see you later, and it was great talking to you. They laughed after mundane observations, after small agreements, after sentences with no comedic content whatsoever. Praveen's conclusion changed everything. Laughter is not primarily a response to humor. Humor is one of many triggers for something that was doing an entirely different job long before humor existed. Laughter is a social bonding signal. Here's how it works at the biological level. When you laugh, your brain releases a cascade of neurochemicals, endorphins, the same system activated by physical touch, by exercise, by eating. Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, the bonding hormone released during hugging and breastfeeding. One laugh produces the same neurochemical effect as a brief physical embrace. This is not a coincidence. This is the function. For a species that evolved in tight social groups, where the bond between individuals was the difference between survival and death, maintaining those bonds constantly was essential. But you cannot hug every member of your group every day. You cannot physically groom 150 people the way chimpanzees groom each other. There isn't enough time. Laughter is grooming at scale. A shared laugh between two people produces mutual endorphin release in both of them simultaneously. It is a bonding mechanism that works across an entire group at once. One person laughs, others catch it, and suddenly 10 people have bonded in 3 seconds without touching. Robin Dunbar at Oxford, the same researcher who identified the 150-person limit of human social groups, ran a series of experiments in 2011 testing laughter's effect on pain tolerance. He showed one group of participants a comedy video, another group a neutral video. Then he measured pain thresholds. The laughter group showed a significantly higher pain threshold, not because they were distracted, because endorphin release from laughter had physically altered their pain response. The bond produced by shared laughter is real. It is measurable in your body. But bonding is only half of what laughter was doing. There is a darker function that almost nobody talks about. Laughter is also a dominance signal. In every social group, human and primate, laughter follows a strict hierarchy. The dominant individual laughs more freely. The subordinate laughs in response. You laugh harder at your boss's joke than your employees. Not because your boss is funnier, because laughter signals social alignment. It says, I recognize your position. I am with you. This is why forced laughter exists. No other species fakes its bonding signals to this degree. The ability to produce a laugh on demand, to signal alignment even when you don't feel it, is uniquely and specifically human. It evolved because the social consequences of not laughing at the right moment were significant. Being left out of the group's laughter is not just uncomfortable. For 300,000 years, it was a warning signal. It meant you were drifting from the group. And drifting from the group had one outcome. This is also why being laughed at feels categorically different from being laughed with. The same sound, completely opposite social meaning. One signals inclusion, one signals exclusion. Your nervous system knows the difference before your conscious mind does. You feel it before you process it, because for most of human history, the difference between those two things was survival. Now here is where it gets stranger. Laughter is contagious in a way that bypasses conscious control. In 2003, Sophie Scott at University College London used fMRI imaging to study how the brain responds to the sound of laughter. What she found was that laughter activates the premotor cortex, the region responsible for preparing the face to move. Before you decide to laugh, before you've consciously processed what you heard, your brain is already preparing your face to join in. You don't choose to catch laughter. Your brain catches it automatically and tells your face to respond before asking your permission. This is why laugh tracks work. You know they're fake. You know no one is actually there. Your brain does not care. The sound triggers the preparation, and once your face starts moving, the neurochemical cascade follows. The contagion is the point. A laugh that spreads through a group is more powerful than one that stays with one person. The bonding effect multiplies. The signal reaches everyone. The mechanism was built to travel. There is one more function of laughter that the science has only recently begun to map. Laughter is a stress inoculation system. In 1979, a journalist named Norman Cousins published a book called Anatomy of an Illness. He had been diagnosed with a severe degenerative disease affecting his connective tissue. Doctors gave him a small chance of recovery. Cousins checked himself out of the hospital, into a hotel, and spent his days watching Marx Brothers films and comedy programs. He found that 10 minutes of genuine laughter gave him 2 hours of pain-free sleep. His inflammation markers measurably decreased. The medical establishment dismissed it at the time. The research caught up. Laughter suppresses cortisol, your primary stress hormone. It reduces adrenaline, it lowers blood pressure. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state that your body needs to recover from stress. A group under genuine social stress that laughs together recovers faster than one that doesn't. This is not folk wisdom. This is measurable in blood. Laughter was not built for pleasant moments. It was built for hard ones. The evolutionary pressure that created laughter was not abundance. It was the constant, grinding stress of survival, predators, scarcity, conflict, disease, and the need for a mechanism that could rapidly restore group cohesion and individual resilience simultaneously. Every comedian who has ever said that laughter is the best medicine was accidentally correct. So why humor? If laughter predates humor by 10 million years, where did humor come from and why did it attach itself to laughter? The leading theory comes from Peter McGraw at the University of Colorado. He calls it benign violation theory. His argument is precise. Something is funny when two conditions are met simultaneously. It must be a violation. Something wrong, unexpected, threatening, taboo. And it must also be benign, safe, distant, not a real threat. A clown falls. Violation. A person hitting the ground. Benign. They're fine. It's clearly not serious. Funny. The same fall, but the person is actually hurt. Violation. Person hitting the ground. Not benign. Real threat. Real pain. Not funny. Humor maps violations of expectation that are simultaneously non-threatening. And this is useful for a social species because humor allows a group to process threatening information together, to rehearse responses to danger, to diffuse tension around taboo topics, to test the boundaries of what the group considers acceptable, all without actual threat. This is why dark humor exists, why people joke at funerals, why soldiers in combat develop savage, incomprehensible humor that makes no sense to anyone outside their unit. The humor is not the point. The laughter is the point. The humor is just the most reliable modern trigger for an ancient mechanism that was already doing its job millions of years before anyone told the first joke. Here's the full picture. 10 million years ago, your ancestors were chirping at each other during play, releasing endorphins, reinforcing bonds, maintaining the group cohesion that kept them alive. 100,000 years ago, your species developed language and eventually built humor as a sophisticated trigger system for the same ancient mechanism. 30 years ago, a journalist accidentally rediscovered what evolution had known all along, that laughter is medicine, not decoration. And right now, today, every laugh you produce is doing several things at once. It is bonding you to the people around you. It is releasing neurochemicals that reduce your pain and lower your stress. It is signaling your position in the social hierarchy. It is catching in the brains of people nearby and preparing their faces to join yours before they've had a single conscious thought about whether something is funny. The laugh came first, the joke came after. The laugh is still running the original program. You'll laugh today, probably more than once. And when you do, something 10 million years old will briefly surface. The same chirp that rats make in the dark, the same panting vocalization that great apes produce during play, the same signal that held your ancestors together against everything that tried to pull them apart. You won't think about any of this when it happens. You won't need to. That's the point.